Hello and welcome. So look at this that I acquired. This is just a chassis. Now I bought this as just a resurrection really. I've got a couple of decent transformers on it, set of tubes if they're any good, a few other bits and bobs. So I may break this amp when I've done it because there's obviously no cabinet with it. We did get a reverb unit and some other bits in there. So as I say, these things I buy just as resurrections and just for something a bit different on the channel other than trawling through repairs. We can kind of go through this and get it running as opposed to servicing things, which is what we spend most of our time doing. So this is a KMD GV60 chassis and it doesn't seem to be in a very good state, does it? So if we just go in, we can see there's a socket missing there and there's some tape over that one. The base pot's snapped off and then someone's also taped over that socket for some reason, and in an attempt to go over the bright switch as well. So I don't know what's going on there. We've got some blobs of green paint which indicates somebody's favourite settings. Well, let's go and have a look over the top. So you can see we've got a output transformer there, quite a hefty one, and you can see that it's also, while it's being shipped, it's being thrown about because you can always tell by the way the transformers are leaning. So we've got a couple of 6L6s there, groove tubes, slightly baked. What else? Now this is interesting. So I don't know whether this is the original transformer or not. So this company on here, Tranny Lamp, Bury St Edmunds. Now I had a bit of a look online and that company is still there. But there's a company called Amethyst now that is manufacturing their transformers, but the website still exists for this company. It's a bit of an old website, and I can tell that it's an old website, A, the look of it, and B, the code, because I did web design for 6 years, so studied that. So yes, it's quite an old website, but still there and still in the same place as well. So let's turn it over and have a look inside the chassis. Right, so I've got the macro lens on, so I thought we'd have a look. And obviously this amp is hybrid. So the preamp section is solid state, and by the look of it, this is the board for it. So we've got the old ICs going on here. And I seem to remember the last KMD we did, if you remember, the solid state one had a lot of these IC type things going on. And this same braiding cable thing going on here. But we've got a burnt out resistor there. If we hone in there, we can see him. He's singed, severely singed. So we need to find out which pin that. I have a feeling that's a screen resistor. The reason is because if we go over here to the same, here 470 ohms, and I think that is a 470 ohms. So I've got a feeling that tube on that side has said good night. Now this standby switch has been swapped here, we could see, and as you can see, you can tell that's not factory, the soldering on that. And then this, we can see here also, and that's what was making me wonder if this transformer had been added after the fact. But looking at all that wiring, it looks very neat and factory, so I think it looks like that is the original transformer. Remember, this was manufactured in the UK, so that could quite easily be the original power transformer. But anyway, it all looks right. Not sure what's going on So yes, you can see the caps, they look in reasonable order considering its age, because it is 40 years old, this amp. In fact, there was some dates on those caps for 1985. Yes, so there we go. And I'm just having a break from other repairs that I've got going on, and I just thought I'd have a look at this. Yes, I have a break from repairs and then look at my own repairs. It's a bit OCD. So I think I want to get this camera on the tripod, and I'm going to get the current limiter and we're going to fire this up. But first I'm going to check that plate resistor, that screen resistor, the screen resistor there, 470 ohms. So that resistor is blown. Yep, that resistor is blown. Let's just see what the fuses are saying. Good. 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 So they're all good. What about that one there? Yep, and that one's good. Is that the power fuse? Yep. Let's check the plug as well. Alright, see what's in there. Oh, 3 amp fuse. Winner. Yep, that's alright. Well, not the best, is it? But yes, it's alright. It's alright for testing anyway. It's not alright. We'll have to read whatever we do. Mind you, don't know whether we're keeping this amp. We're going to break it. Seems a shame to break it, but we've got no cabinet. So we are suspecting that this tube is also blown then, if that resistor is blown. So let's put that in the tube tester. I'll be back in a minute and I want to see if that's got any shorts. Right, before we get that resistor out, just want to check the windings on the output transformer. That, I believe, is the plate, and that is, oh yes, so it survived. Let's see what the other side's got on it. $58.5. And 52. Make some notes as we go along. That tells us that the output transformer is good. $50 milliamps, 250 milliamps, these two fuses here. So that looks like there's a fuse on in line with each side of the AC coming into the board there from the transformer. Let's test that. $57 ohms. Right, the primary. here. The switch. That looks about right as well. So the primary of the output transformer looks good, the secondary looks good, and the plates, sorry, the primary on the power transformer looks good, the secondaries look good. Not tested the filament ones, we'll just power it up because it's fun too. And all the fuses work. The plates on the output transformers are good, on both sides of the output transformer are pretty good, so all good. So right, we'll snip that resistor out and replace him. So we'll snip him out there. Oh, he is baked, my word. Charred. There we go. And we're just going to tack this. I'm just going to tack a 1K in there. Remember, this is only a resurrection, so I'm not looking to score any points as the world's greatest solderer. It's just literally to get this amp going. So don't berate me in the comments. That'll do nicely. Right, we'll switch on. Let's go. So I've only got a 15 watt bulb in the current limiter at the minute. Just trying to bring this up fairly steady. Right, so let's just put another 15 watt bulb in there now. You should see that go up a bit more. And that, my word, that really has shot up putting that in there. This amp's not drawing a lot of current. Doesn't seem to be. And that's running and it's very quiet. Well, I think I'm going to plug the guitar into that. Any excuse to plug the guitar in, we'll take it, won't we? Nothing on the input. Don't need the reverb because the tank's not connected to. Some strange things going on there. Oh dear. That sounds a bit sick, doesn't it? I'm not exactly short on voltage. Let's stick a 40 watt bulb in with that 15. Oh, that's brought it up, my word, look at that voltage. That's quite high considering how much current limiting we've got. Now there's definitely more trouble with this. Well, at least it runs. Now I've also got a half power switch on the standby. Sorry, wrong switch. And you can see there. Well, that's a weird standby switch. So it's on there, it says standby low, standby high, and it has a middle setting. But the middle setting, I'm sure what's going on there. Oh yes, just waiting for the voltage to die away. So low and high. My word, that voltage is high. Unless these tubes aren't conducting properly. I do seem a little cold. We've got signal. So I've just pulled the lead out there just a little bit. We've got signal. So we're running. We do sound a bit distorted. Let's put a bigger bulb in there again. My word, look at that plate voltage going up. By gum, that seems a bit high, doesn't it? 531, and I've still got the current limiter on at that, and I've only got 100 watts of current limiting. Wow, that is high. But we can't turn the bass up, can we? So both of those tubes tested good in the tester. So we've got 160 watts of current limiting, so that is now at 540 volts. Let's drop another 100, and that's at 545 now. Let's just flick the limiter off for a second. Wow, that's a lot of voltage for two of those. 553 volts. Let's put the limiter back on. Just for a bit of protection. A little bit of let's flick the foot switch then and see what this overdrive channel is like. Ooh. Yes, he's loud. That sounds pretty nice as long as you don't put too much in. As you increase it, it almost has a blocking distortion feel to it. That does. It's not. It's very, very. Just keep it. Wow, that bright switch is bright, but then again that's why it's called a bright switch. Now these tubes are cool. I can hold those, and this amp's been on a fair while now, so something's wrong. Something isn't conducting properly. It isn't. Let's have a look at this resistor we added. I've got no voltage across there. And no voltage across there. I've got 265. I think that tube is red plating the bulbs. Look at the bulb. So yes, we've got an issue somewhere. So the bulb's holding that. That's intermittent, so the bulb's gone out now. Just turn it that way, you can see that. See that back now. And that tube is getting hot now. It's not red plating because the current limiter's keeping the current down. And it's gone off again. So I think that tube is all over, and that's what's burnt out that resistor. And no, don't do that at home. It's cool though, but then the current limiter is on. You can see again, look. Yes. That's it, pull the tube out. So I think he's looking like he's all over. He's intermittent inside. Not a healthy tube. Let's just switch off. Right, I've just put another tube in, and I've just dropped a 60 watt bulb in the limiter just to see where we are with things. Drawing no current now to speak. Yeah, 484 on that plate. 482. lot of difference on the plate and screen voltage. Massive difference. We got 240 volts on that screen. Let's just stick that 40 back in. Look at that, wow. That is a tremendous amount of voltage. Maybe not then. So it looks like we have got a fault somewhere. I wonder what is causing that. Makes that go unstable and draw current. So maybe we've got a dry joint on there then. I'll have to have a close look. So it's not the tube then. So at least we know it's not the tube by swapping it. But my word, that's a lot of plate voltage for this amp. A lot of plate voltage. Right, I've just drop that back onto a 60-watt bulb. Drop that plate voltage below 500. So now we're below 400 volts. Just take the volume down, and you can see straight away as soon as I put the meter on that. That is weird. That one is absolutely fine. See the bulb, you can see the bulb lighting up. Oh, sorry, my fingers over the camera. Yep, 470. So you can, yeah. So I wonder, is that a problem with the transformer? I wonder. Right, let's just go on to low setting now. Now on this low setting, you can see that's dropped the plate volts quite low. See what happens now. Yeah, not an issue now. But then 480 volts is probably acceptable on a 6L6, just. See, they won't want any more. Well, I don't think so anyway. Probably no doubt people have pushed them more. So that's absolutely fine. Now let's put another 100 in the current limiter. Yeah, and that's still, all I'm doing there is testing a voltage on here. So yeah, 363, which is about the same as what's on. So let's drop another bulb in there. So we've got 200 watts now, current limiting. So let's bring that low up, 362. Yeah, and that's absolutely fine. So it's only when it's on that high setting that we get that problem. I'm not going to flick the current limiter off while we've got that fault. So let's see what it sounds like now on the low setting. It doesn't. Oh, it does. That sounds crystal clear now. That bit of distortion has gone out of that now. So it seems to run quite healthy on the low setting, but the high setting, well. Right, just done a bit of checking online, and this amp indeed does use 6L6 GCs, but that transformer is way too big for this amp in my opinion. And how long has this thing been on now? It's stone cold. I've been running this thing for nearly an hour. So that would run 4 6L6s quite comfortably. It's a very, very potent transformer. And I just think that's too much plate voltage for this, way too much. And the amp is, you know, unstable at that plate voltage. It's perfectly fine at a lower setting, this lower voltage. Just flick that off on. Yeah, just about the same. So we've got 300 and... The other thing is that this amp's... It's like it's not drawing any current, but it's almost as if this transformer is so big for this amp that when you flick, so I flick the current limiter off there, it only comes up about 5 volts. Let's just take the 100 watt, one of the 100 watts out. Even that's not big, is it? 20 volts with a 100 watt bulb, but that's 369. It only goes up another 8 volts. So that is a very, very big transformer for this amp. It is dishing out a lot of plate volts. So I kind of get the impression that that would be suitable in a 100 watt amp, and I would guess you would have about 480, 500 volts. As we flick that standby switch up onto high again, and look at that, that's 560. It's not working hard, that isn't, is it? 500. So just flick the limiter off for a second. We'll be very careful doing this, but it's not a customer's amp, is it? 558 volts, 560 volts are being smashed onto those tubes. That is quite high. Let's just, in fact, let's just put it on the low setting. Makes more sense, doesn't it? Wow, that's a lot of volts. Right, I thought we'd have a bit of a demo on this one. I've managed to turn the bass down with a screwdriver because it was a bit bassy. Let's just see what we can do with this, with these two levels on this clean channel. Sound half bad, you know, at all. So you get a bit more bass out of that. What's in the jig here? too bad. Not bad at all. Not bad. Just a clean channel, so let's just bring that down. Very bassy. See if I can get that. That sounds pretty good. Let's try the other channel. So just flick the foot switch. Ooh. So now let's go for full tilt on the overdrive. Wow, that is loud. Very glassy. And even more glassy with the bright switch. out a bit rusty, but yes, let's back this gain off again on this channel. Little treble. Ooh. Those pots need cleaning badly. Don't sound half bad, you know, for a hybrid amp. That sounds pretty good. Every bit as good as the Marshall valve state range. That sounds pretty neat. The only thing is this excessive plate voltage. So let's just flick this back onto this high setting. Current limiter is on. That sounds really nice. That sounds really, really nice, that does. Yes, we've got some issues again. You can see we've lost, and that tends to happen when it's on this high setting. And again, when you switch off, switch back on, so yeah, so every time you use this high setting, we get problems, and it just seems that I don't know, we just seem to have too much plate voltage for those tubes. I don't know what it is that's causing that. Yeah, I've not really delved that deeply into it. One thing that does seem a bit odd about this amp is the very low screen voltage compared to the plate voltage. Screen voltage is really low, probably almost half. We'll have to check that again because I only had a brief look at that. But the screen voltage does seem low on there. So we need to find out where that's being fed from, because that really doesn't make sense, does it? If it's being fed, there's no choke on this amp, is there? No. So we've not got a choke. We could, I wonder if there's a schematic. We'll have to have a look, see. In fact, what we'll do is we'll have a look online. We'll have a look at the tranny lamp website, and we'll have a look to see if there's a schematic for it. Give us a bit more information about this amp. But can't can't say I've ever been inside one of these before, but it's impressive. If we flick it up onto the high, see what happens, straight away it goes. So not sure what's causing that. The current limiter didn't come up, mind you. And gone. No, just take a ball there. Now I've took a bulb out and dropped the plate voltage. The amp's running fine. That sounds awesome. In fact, you wouldn't know that was hybrid, would you? If we hadn't have had the front, the lid off it, and had a look, and spotted that there was no preamp tube, you really wouldn't notice. That is really well designed. That sounds excellent, really good, but it's not without its issues. Right, so we're looking at this Trilamp website. You can see, as I said, this is quite an old looking site. So the address and contact details still appear to be the same, certainly Bury St Edmunds. Anyway, transformers, click on there, that seems to be a bit slow. There we go. Is now this Amethyst company, which I know nothing about. Let's go back. And then these indicator lights that they use, just a, looks like a download file there. So they still seem pretty active, this company. And here's a KMD that was on reverb that's obviously been sold, so we can see the cabinet that this used to be in, this amp. And have a look at some pictures. Very 80s style cabinet, that. So that is G12 75 in it, by the way. Is that 65 or 75? Can't see the cables in the way. You can see there 1985, which would figure, looking at those caps, I think I've got a date of 85. Different foot switch. We don't have a foot switch for the reverb on that one, and it's been hardwired in. It is G1275. Now if we look at this picture, you can see it does indeed have those Trilamp transformers on there. So the amp is definitely all original. You can also see, so the amp is definitely all original. You can also see those 6L6s there, which I think 5881s from what I've read, bits and bobs about this amp. That's actually in Nashville. Sam Ash. So there we go. So you can see there. So no doubt it's all original, but ours is not without its problems. Right, that's about it for this one. We've had a good look, we've run it up. It doesn't sound half bad, does it? It's got a few problems, to say the least. If I decide to do a part 2 on this one, we'll hunt down a schematic, see if there's a schematic for it, and we'll delve into this amp and sort it out. In fact, thinking about it, I'm going to put this one out there. Would you restore this amp, given the fact that there's no cabinet for it? Would you restore this amp, get it up and running again, or do you think we should just break it and use it for a project? Use the parts for projects and so on, and just hang on to all these ICs and things as parts. We've got 2 really good transformers, a few switches, we've got the knobs on the front, so we've got a fair few bits and bobs. So let me know in the comments. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, and you all take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.